And welcome to today's show. Today, we're talking about Social Security tips, and it says right here in this handy guide, what, when, who, how, the Social Security decisions. And Dustin, what do you recommend about Social Security? It's not what a lot of people think.
Yeah, it's not. I think everybody thinks they're supposed to wait as long as they possibly can, and in some cases that is the right way to do it, but not in all cases. Not everybody should wait. I mean, there's several things that you want to look at when you're thinking about filing for Social Security. Number one, how long do people live in your family? I know this is not fun to think about, but I mean, do people live into their 90s? Or you know, have you seen a lot of people pass away in your family in their late 60s? And really, if people pass away really early in your family, there's absolutely no reason to wait. If you're waiting until you're 70 to pull and people die in their mid-60s, you may never file.
Yeah, right.
So it really will depend on each individual circumstance on whether we'll recommend to put it off or go ahead and file.
And that can be whether or not you want it to go to your spouse or split it with your spouse while you're getting, there are all these options.
Yeah, and that's why we have the guide that we're making available to any of the viewers here today. There's over 500 different ways that you can draw your Social Security. So unless you get educated by reading the guide or take it a step further to get a full analysis done, nobody has a crystal ball. We can't just make guesses at this. We can give you some good guidance, but really getting the analysis done is the best way to answer these types of questions. If you just want to follow some generic advice, like Dustin was just saying, there's different variables that play into this decision. I, for one, usually will recommend that clients take Social Security as early as they possibly can, once they're not working anymore, because there's some limitations if you take it early. But if you've stopped working or retired or sold the business, whatever it is, go ahead and start drawing it early. Even though it may be at a reduced benefit, you're going to enjoy that money many more years than you would if you waited, and you're going to be more active and more likely to be able to enjoy the funds that you're drawing. So yeah, there's a lot of arguments out there that are saying if you wait till your full retirement age or even waiting to 70, you get about an 8% bump up each year. And that may be true, but once individuals get into their 80s and 90s, the fact that they're getting a little extra income really doesn't matter. They're not as active anymore.
I think I read somewhere it takes till you're like 82 just to get back to even.
Yeah,
so
a lot of times depends on the situation. But
Well, I'm hearing both of you say take it early in a lot of cases. So a lot of people out there, let's go take the Social Security. But there are times, I'm sure, when people should wait.
Absolutely. I mean, do you need it? If you're going to retire and you don't need it, then put it off, because if you don't need it, let it grow a little bit more. But there's not any one blanket statement that we would ever make to anyone. It's going to be each individual situation is going to require something a little different.
Yeah, the flip side of what Dustin just said, sometimes individuals, they don't need the extra income, so why draw the extra income and have to pay taxes on it and things like that. The flip side of that is some individuals are maybe a little behind on their retirement planning or had to start over due to a divorce or health issue or whatever happens to individuals during the course of their life. So if you're well behind your retirement planning, then those individuals should delay as long as they possibly can, because it's going to be a significant source of their income, and it's going to be an income that they cannot outlive. And it's really interesting when we run analysis for individuals in the office, when we delay retirement, say just 1 year, so someone really wants to retire at 64 and the analysis says they should really retire at 65, that 1 year delay can really impact you positively 2 or 3 years because of how compounding interest works. Obviously, if you delay retirement 1 year, well, you're working 1 year longer, you're accumulating money 1 year longer, and really the way it works out, you need the additional funds 2 years shorter based upon life expectancy. So it makes a really big benefit for you to delay even just 1 year or 2 years or things of that nature. But those are some pretty extreme ends, those that don't need the money or those that this is all they're ever going to have. For the majority of our viewers that are kind of in the middle, most of the time it makes sense to take it earlier. But resources like the guide that we've created and the analysis we can do in the office can help answer those questions better.
And Social Security isn't something that you could start and stop. Once you start it, you're going?
Well, as long as you do it in the first year, there's a rule. I believe it's called no harm, no foul. As long as you pay back every dime they paid
but you gotta pay it back.
Yeah, so you've got 12 months to restart it basically. But after that, no, there's no stopping.
Yeah, and that question's going back to what I just said earlier. There's over 500 different ways to draw it. So there's different things that you can do, and sometimes it makes sense. someone would only do that if, their life really changed, maybe death of a spouse or maybe a major inheritance or, those types of things. But most of the time when individuals start to draw it, that's the path that they're going to stay on. Another question that we sometimes get, and I think we talk about it in the guide a little bit, is some individuals are concerned, well, is Social Security even going to be there
Right.
for us in the future? We've all heard how we have the unfunded liabilities of trillions of dollars, and I don't know exactly what Washington is thinking all of the time and what Congress is doing, but everything that we ever read or see or hear, anytime anybody even proposes making changes to Social Security, pretty much everybody age 50, sometimes age 55 or older, are completely protected to where there's little to no changes that will be made there. Younger generations, kind of what we do when we work with a client's child or grandchild, we'll kind of talk about Social Security as kind of gravy. If it's
Might
there,
be there,
Yeah.
might not.
if it's there, great. If it's not,
Yeah.
we're not counting on it. But I really think anybody watching right now, age 50, age 55 plus, already drawing it, you're not going to have to worry about it. Whatever happens in Congress, they're not going to come and take this away from individuals. Taxes may have to go higher. Younger generations might not be able to draw it, but it's going to be there. You're going to be able to count on it.
So all your questions about Social Security, when you should draw it, it's right here. What, when, who, how, the Social Security decision. If you would like a copy, you can just go to swdgroup.com and stay tuned for more Strategic Wealth with Matt Dickett after the break.